Imagine if Adrian Caputo listened to his ATAR. He's a bit of an anomaly. Like obviously, um, he didn't enjoy studying. He didn't enjoy pretty much any of the subject matter, but he has a passion for first aid, which led him to go towards St. John's at a very young age. And he was always passionate about that. He won't be disappointed in me saying this. He got a terrible mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that didn't define him in the slightest. Like now he's a nurse and he's a registered paramedic, and he's really engaged in that field, and that's what he genuinely loves doing as a career. Imagine if he made the assumption that he wasn't smart enough because he didn't get a good ATAR.
You've hit on something that's incredibly, incredibly profound, which is how it is actually right now all set up the complete wrong way. There is it'd be hard to make it worse. Does that make sense?
People have to fight against
it would be hard to make it worse. The way it is now, I can put this, you've hit on something that's very close to my heart, which not many people agree with me on, because it's too much of especially people in education, because it's too much of a overhaul of what they believe because of the sunk cost. Surely we're not putting all this effort in for something that is completely counterintuitive. I think you are.
And then they don't question.
Put it this way, Luke. If Adrian was, say, the loser of that system from high school, who would the winner be? And the winner, you would probably say, is probably meant to be someone like me.
Yeah.
Who got the extreme high post-school mark. So I'm supposed to be the beneficiary then. I'm supposed to be the one who did benefit. Except I had the complete opposite problem to Adrian. Everyone had this expectation that I was wasting my ability by going into film.
Incredible contrast.
Because my mark, the capital of my mark couldn't be applied to materialize a career in film. Therefore, it looked to them like I was wasting it. And therefore that created pressure for me to find a linear university pathway. Linear is the biggest myth as well, because there is no linear career. All you have is lines that go for 3 or 4 years before they actually end, and then it becomes non-linear anyway. Whether you're a lawyer or a doctor or whatever, because eventually you got to compete in the market to get a job.
Yeah.
And the workplace is based on who you know, not what you know primarily anyway. But put that aside for 1 second, and you come back to this idea of, I now identify heavily with this mark, this idea of myself as a smart person, which another time we'll talk about Carol Dweck's fixed versus growth mindset paradigm.
Powerful ideas.
Very powerful ideas. And the fixed, in summary, fixed is this idea that you are your abilities and they're pretty locked in place. That's why you identify so much with them and you get so emotional about what you're good at and not good at and anxious about it. And growth is the Adrian, is the, well, I'm fine with struggle. I'm used to struggling with things, but I'll figure it out. So therefore they always take the steps. They open the doors. Fixed mindset don't open the doors.
No,
that was me. I was given an extreme fixed mindset by this gifted persona I left high school with. So afraid to take risks, so afraid to step into the unknown, feeling guilty for not using my mark. And so if Adrian was not the beneficiary of schooling and low mark, disqualified by marks for what he was passionate about, and I was not the beneficiary of schooling, high mark, de-incentivized from what I'm passionate about, my question is, who is the winner of our education system?
That's a very good question, in which I don't have the answer to.
I suspect the answer is no one. I suspect the answer is no one, which is heartbreaking. It's not to say I didn't have a fantastic experience at high school. I appreciate everyone who educated me. I connected with my Year 9 English teacher the other day and sent him copies of 18 and Lost and how his class made me want to be a filmmaker. I have had nothing but wonderful support from the high school. A lot of the projects I've done after school. I didn't want to leave. The experience for me was phenomenal. It was a vibrant community. And it's an alumni, our school, that's very powerful as well in supporting young people after, if you engage with it. So I loved the time there. That memories, my heart, they'll always be with me. But the problem is that it is not the world that we have outside. If we were to continue in that vein of having community systematically provided for us our whole lives, high school would be fine. It's funny that we have the model of what a good life looks like. For me, it was very much that school experience. For a lot of people, it wouldn't have been. Because I did thrive with what the school offered. Your experience might have been slightly different. But yeah, that's the sad reality, is that it's this disconnect with what comes after. And that the world we are then put into is nothing like that. It's because of how unrelated and discordant they are from one another. That's where the problem arises.